Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Amitha. Join us weekly to get inspired by guests and their success stories. We often turn to our government officials to have the best possible quality of life in our communities. And if those government officials are accessible, then they can better meet the needs of their constituents. Today, we'll be talking to one such inspirational female politician who is going above and beyond to bring about progress in her community as she represents the federal riding of Brampton North. It's with honor I welcome to our show Honorable MP Ruby Sahota. Welcome.
Hi, Samitha. Thank you for having me on your show. It's a pleasure to be on Spotlight and a real honor.
Thank you so much. So we want to find out about what's happening with Brampton North. But before that, I would love to learn a little bit more about who you are. So your professional life before you entered the political arena.
Yeah, professionally, I'm a lawyer and I practiced in the areas of criminal law for a very short period of time and then did most of my time in commercial litigation work before entering into politics. And I grew up in Brampton, just like so many. I think right now a lot of our representatives are, from Brampton or even other areas. I think it's very valued here in Canada that you be from the region that you're representing. You understand the issues of the people and your constituents. And so I was born in Toronto and I moved to Brampton at a very young age when I was in elementary school. And since elementary school have mainly been in Brampton, other than for, some graduate degrees and such, I've had to go away from Brampton, of course. And that's a big ask these days as well, to have a university here. So people do not have to move away from home. But I think you do grow in that process as well. But once I became a lawyer and became established, I did want to move back to my family and to my roots back to Brampton. And it's here, after I had moved back, that my love for politics, which was always there. I did a degree in political science and, always in the back of my head, I think there was a desire there to one day explore politics. I did not necessarily think it would be in this way. I was always very interested in maybe working in government, but the opportunity presented itself. And I think when the opportunity presents itself, you have to wonder why, and you have to jump on it because it's all about timing. And I think I was very lucky to get in at the right time, at the right place. And I was elected in 2015. And so I've just entered into my second term as a federal member of parliament now.
Congratulations, and well deserved. I mean, you brought about quite a bit of progress within the community. And as one female to another female, it's quite inspirational to see more female community leaders. Have you faced any challenges because of your gender, or it actually has been okay?
Initially, there were a lot of challenges. I mean, I think people sometimes have to get used to seeing women in these roles, and not many people are used to seeing women in these roles. So it challenges their perceptions, it challenges their ideas of what a woman's role in society is. And I would definitely say that in the early days of when I was gaining support and building a team around me, in order to enter into the nomination and into my first election, I definitely had a lot of people that supported and encouraged me. Otherwise, obviously, I would not be here and I would not have been able to achieve this, because you really need a strong team and you need people that are in your corner and will encourage you no matter what. And I had the family that believed in me and encouraged me. But I also had, I would even say my spouse was also very hesitant and worried about what this would mean for our family, all the travel. And I had outsiders also say that I wouldn't make a good mother if I entered into this career, and that perhaps I didn't care to be a good mother. And that's far from the truth. I am in this career because I am a mother and I care very deeply about our children, and not just my child, but of all children. And so I think it's important to have representatives that can relate to other parents, that have other school-age children, because if you don't have people at the table that can share in those types of experiences, come from a similar background, then you really don't have true representation. And so even though it is a challenge for my family and there is some sacrifice, it's also a great privilege and, you know, a great honor. And as my son is growing and learning a little bit more about what mom does and what it means to be an MP, I can see that he's quite proud that I've taken on this role and taken on this leadership. Now he's gotten to the age where he might be able to help me with lawn signs and things in the next election. He's now 7 years old, but you know, I think it's really important to be a good role model for your children. And I'm not saying that had I left my career and been a stay-at-home mom, that wouldn't be a good role model. But I am saying that being a good role model is following your passions, following your dreams. And if there is something that you think you can do to make this world or your community a better place, then you should be doing it. And thus your children, your family will also lead in your, you know, follow in your footsteps and also do the same. So it's really important. It's challenging, but it's, I guess I would say in the end, the challenges, the sense of fulfillment that you get from this role outweighs the challenges.
Very well said. Quite inspirational because the passion, you know, shows through as you are making changes for yourself, for the community, for the family. Thank you so much for inspiring us with those very well needed words that our viewers needed to hear. So now it's time to go towards Brampton North and find out what has been happening and what we can look forward to. But before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to Honorable MP Ruby Sahota. So now let's find out more. Since you've taken office, what has happened to your riding with Brampton North?
Yeah, I would say the one thing that I do hear back, and it's really important to hear back from your constituents. So because of COVID-19 currently, the pandemic, there's been some challenges in how to engage with the community, how to get that feedback, because regularly what we did is we have a constituency office where a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, come through daily to talk about their concerns, their needs, but we also go out into the community, into events, and to people's front doors to ask them as to how they feel about the current government, what we could do better, and what their needs are. And so that has been a little bit challenging because we don't have that same way of interacting right now, but we're figuring out virtual tools to do so. So I would say in terms of my role and what I'm most proud of is the engagement level. And it is what I get the most feedback on, is that I do get constituents from all over. They will drive from Windsor, from Kitchener, from all over the place. So they're not necessarily always my constituents, which, you know, there are a lot of great MPs all over the place too. And I try to encourage them to go to their MPs, but I do get a lot of good feedback, and I am happy that people feel comfortable coming to me. And so the feedback that I get is that they find my MP, my office, my team to be accessible, you know, to be responsive. And I want to continue to be that, because I have had a couple of bad experiences in the past that did motivate me to make sure that that's one area we could try to improve in. And of course, there's always mistakes made, and we learn along the way, but it's something I strive towards, to make sure that if anyone has an issue, they will have an MP to listen to their concern and try their hardest to try to improve their situation. And so that's really my goal, is to be one of the most accessible.
Well, amazing. That is absolutely a you know, community leader for the people, of the people, and by the people. So Brampton North is very blessed to have you. What can we look forward to? I know the pandemic has brought us all to a little bit of a standstill, as you were mentioning, but maybe if we pick one project that you are working on right now for the riding, what would it be?
Well, I can, what I should speak about is just last week, there was a major announcement made in Brampton, and it's for the whole Peel region. It was an affordable housing announcement. It was the largest affordable housing announcement that Peel region has ever seen from the federal government. And so I just before this interview got off a call with the regional representatives and their team about that announcement and about other goals that we want to see in this region. And affordable housing is a big concern. And I know the average person may not understand it because they view, the housing market as the housing market they're buying and selling it into. But affordable housing was very important. I did not realize how much so until I got into this role. Even though as a federal government, we don't, we're not in charge of the affordable housing. We definitely fund these projects for the region. So the region of Peel has a housing list, and their housing list is almost 10 years long. So if you need affordable housing today, you're looking at waiting, depending on your priority group you might be in, anywhere from 6 to 10 years. And at that point, you may not need that affordable housing, unfortunately, anymore. So it's really, really important to make sure that all aspects of our communities are supported. And we will have, and it's, and a lot of times people talk about crime and other issues that may emerge, homelessness, and we have to get down to the root cause of those issues if we want a good community, right? And that why do people come to Canada is because we think deeply about these issues and concerns and try to figure out how to make sure that people are supported when they are going through a difficult time. And I know, many examples of stories of whether they're seniors from the South Asian community. There's many seniors that are in need of affordable housing. And there are many, single moms that have come into very difficult situations. And I know of a very successful story where, had affordable housing not been there for that mother, she probably would have ended up working in a dead-end job that would not have gotten her anywhere. But because of the affordable housing and the supports she got, she was able to get a degree. She had never gone to school before, but she was able to get a college degree and to get a better job. And she's supporting her 2 daughters as a single mother, and their lives will be better for it. And her daughters now will probably, have better outcomes in their life, which makes for better communities. And so that's why it's so important. And we're going to make sure that as a Liberal government, what we emphasize and talk about quite a lot is making sure that everyone is supported and that the middle class flourishes and that those wanting to be in the middle class can join the middle class. And so I think all indexes in Canada would be better if our policies are made in a way that everyone is supported. And so that is ultimately the goal, whether it's through our benefit programs through the pandemic or, the Canada Child Benefit that has uplifted so many children out of poverty. Our continued aim and goal into the future is to make sure we have a thriving economy. And in order to do that, you need to have people that are contributing to that economy. And so this is the way to do that, right? We want to make sure that that mother does not have to be on welfare forever, that she can get a foot up, that she can get a good job, and she can provide for her children, because that's the ultimate Canadian dream. And I know that me and my parents have been able to achieve that Canadian dream, and I want others to be able to achieve it as well. My parents came to this country as immigrants in the 70s. They had many struggles, but Canada, gave them a home, gave them opportunity, and thus, I don't think in their wildest dreams they would have imagined that their daughter, the daughter of a taxi driver and a factory worker, would one day sit in the highest government of the land and be a member of parliament. But anything is possible in this country, so we want to make sure that that dream carries on.
Well, I would say congratulations. And again, very well said. So, this is great. We have heard what's happening because of all your efforts and the team's efforts in Brampton North at the local level. But you do so much more, and you play so much of a broader role at the federal level as well. We want to find out more. But before that, it's time for a short break. Welcome back to Spotlight. We are talking to the Honorable MP Ruby Sahota. So we heard so much about how you have inspired us, the community, how much you're doing for the riding of Brampton North. But now it's time to let our audience know what's happening at the federal level. I mean, you do so much there. So tell us a little bit more about some of your memorable projects or positions there.
Yeah, well, all of Parliament has really been a true dream. It's a lot of hours. It's a lot of a lot of more work than I think people sometimes may realize than it looks like from the outside. But one thing I've been able to do while I'm up in Parliament is invite a lot of young women up that are interested in having careers in politics. And so if there are anyone that's interested in shadowing an MP and seeing what it is like to be an MP for the day, you're more than welcome to contact my office, and we can make those types of arrangements post-pandemic. Of course, things are a little bit different right now and travel is difficult as well. But it's been nice to be able to mentor young kids, because I will only last in this position for God knows how long, and somebody brighter and smarter has to come along the way and fill these roles. And so I would love it if more young dynamic people from our community step forward to be able to see what we do as a member of Parliament. Parliament has given me the opportunity to work with many different colleagues from across the country, from many different walks of life and backgrounds. I get to chair a parliamentary committee, the Procedure and House Affairs Committee. I never realized in the past that I would become a procedural nerd that I have now, but it's really important. The committee deals with election laws, and it deals with ethics rules, and it deals with the rules of the House, how we're going to continue to be able to serve our constituents through this pandemic. We've been looking at virtual voting, app-based voting, and different ways that we can still fulfill our roles, pass legislation, even through this pandemic. So our committee has been working on those issues throughout this summer. I also sit on the Foreign Affairs Committee, and that is a coveted committee spot as well. We're dealing with issues that are happening all across the world and making recommendations to the Foreign Affairs Minister on those issues. In the past, I've sat on public safety. I've also sat on status of women, and many other things where I've been able to contribute. The India-Canada Friendship Group, that's a friendship group that in 2016 we were able to revive. There was no group such as that at that time, and we were able to recreate the group. It did exist in the past many years back before that, and that has allowed us to start building a foundation to have a better relationship with the country of India, which is really important because we have so many South Asians that live in Canada and have a great connection to India, and we want to make sure that we harness all of that connection and all those people-to-people ties so that we can economically benefit, and also make sure that if there is social change that India may be looking for, or things that we could learn from them, that we do so. It's really important for us to make sure that we keep these partnerships globally. And India is a big emerging economy, and we want to make sure that that friendship is strong. And so there have been bumps along the way, but you need to continue to work on these issues. And international relations is never an easy field. There's a lot of pull and push factors to consider, and every country is always making sure that their domestic issues are first and foremost their priority. But I think it's really important because Canada is a trading country. Canada needs to make sure that, through this last little while, we've been able to negotiate new trade agreements with the EU. We're looking at South America. We did renegotiate NAFTA. And then there was also the agreement with the South Pacific countries. And so hopefully India is the next market that we could build a new trade agreement with. And I think that is something that I'm looking forward to working on.
Wow, MP, with you, the possibilities are limitless. You do so much that is making a difference to the lives of Canadians, not just locally, but also bringing in international perspective and actually making changes globally as well. So we are so grateful that you came today on our show, took out the time from, it sounds like a full plate for you, a busy schedule, and you've inspired us so much, not just as a politician, but as a person who has goals and who should be going after their goals. So we thank you very much for coming and talking to us and inspiring our viewers today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. And in the end, I'd just like to say, if you are a resident of Brampton North, don't hesitate to reach out to me, to my office, if there's any issues you'd like to discuss. And even if you're not a resident of Brampton North, you can always call, email, even throughout this pandemic. We've been working throughout our regular business hours. There have been times where we're not open to the public for walk-ins, but we're still there. You can always email us, you can always call us, and we can always make arrangements for a meet as well if necessary. So please stay healthy and stay safe, and I hope that your viewers are doing so.
Thank you very much. We wish you and your team all the best, and we will continue to follow you.
Thank you.
Well, that was Honorable MP Ruby Sahota, who has inspired us today. Well, that's a wrap for this week's show. Thank you for watching us. Continue to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and write to us at spotlight@ethnicchannels.com. Until next week, this is Amitha signing off, encouraging you to support our government officials.